Vocal cord parasites. Nanomachines, son. What are they? Are they the same thing? Today we're diving into the differences between these two microscopic tools that had a huge influence over Metal Gear Solid characters and plot points. What's up, Level Gang? How have y'all been doing? If you're new here, my name is Luffy and welcome to my channel. Just a heads up, this video will have spoilers for Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid 4, and Metal Gear Solid 5. Vocal cord parasites and nanomachines are confusing. Are the two related? Let's go over the origins, uses, and history of the vocal cord parasites versus nanomachines. Origins. Vocal cord parasites are parasites selectively bred and modified by people, whereas nanomachines are microscopic machines built by people. Vocal cord parasites are older than humans, with their first hosts being dinosaurs. Back then, the vocal cord parasites lived in mutualistic harmony with their hosts. The amount of nutrients they took from their host was negligible, and in return, the vocal cord parasites granted their hosts the ability to create complex sounds as they helped develop the host's larynx and resonating chambers. Eventually, the vocal cord parasites evolved with the ability to infect humans and gave early humans their ability to speak. Vocal cord parasites are highly infectious and are spread through saliva, so eating or drinking food/drink that an infected person has eaten/drank off of, or breathing in trace saliva particles in the air when they speak is enough to infect you. Luckily, vocal cord parasites are only infectious once they begin copulation in their host. They aren't infectious so long as they lay dormant within their host. Because the vocal cord parasites were originally in symbiosis with people, people's immune systems didn't learn to attack them. Unfortunately, this makes their modern-day counterparts especially deadly, as our immune systems aren't equipped to fight them off. The existence of the vocal cord parasites and the important role they played in human history was theorized by Code Talker in the 1930s, and in 1975, Code Talker was able to resurrect the vocal cord parasites. These parasites were then stolen by Skullface, who forced Code Talker to selectively breed the vocal cord parasites so that they could recognize specific languages and would then attack their host once exposed to the language they were trained to recognize. Nanomachines are much newer than vocal cord parasites, with the first generation nanomachines introduced in 2005. These nanomachines were injected into Solid Snake before he arrived on Chano Moses Island as an added tool to support him during his infiltration mission. These tiny machines were recharged by the host's body heat, and they could be lost if the host bled them out or through excretions. Unfortunately, this first generation of nanomachines also came with the terrible side effect of potentially interfering with the host's heart, especially if the host suffered from rapid aging, like Snavid did. Now that we understand the origin of the vocal cord parasites and nanomachines, let's take a look at their different uses. As mentioned before, the vocal cord parasites originally existed in mutualistic harmony with people, and are the reason early humans developed the ability to make complex sounds and words to begin with. There are a few different types of vocal cord parasites though. Some of them specialize in vocal cords, but others completely cover their host to grant them abilities like the End or Code Talker, who use their parasites to gather additional information about the area around them. Before the vocal cord parasites were weaponized, they were used to give the Cobra unit their special abilities. The Cobra unit marked the end of the benign relationship with people, however. Mainly, the vocal cord parasites are seen in Metal Gear Solid 5 in their weaponized form. Skullface intends to use them to wipe all languages out so that he can control the narrative with his language of nukes and to stop Zero's control over information. The parasites are also used to form Skullface's Parasite unit. In the Parasite unit, they reside mainly in their host's skin and grants them greater physical abilities along with the ability to camouflage into their surroundings. The parasites that cover their host's skin's biggest weakness is desiccation. Because the surface moisture loss is greater than ours, they don't get the moisture they need from the arid air around them to keep functioning. To counteract this, they release the salt from inside them to put moisture into the air so that they can absorb/keep themselves moist with. This moisture condenses around them and appears as mist, which is disgusting. Poor Venom's running around and breathing in parasite sweat every time he deals with the Parasite unit. Nanomachines are used to alter the body of their hosts and enhance their abilities and their performance in combat. So, a little similar to the parasites the Parasite unit uses, though the effects aren't nearly as pronounced. There are 3 generations of nanomachines. The first generation of nanomachines had several subsets that were designed to supply and administer adrenaline, nutrients, sugar, nootropics, and benzodrine. They would also recharge a Codex battery, and they also infected their host, Solid Snake, with the Fox-Die virus. They could also be used to restrict the host's actions, such as shooting a gun. Second generation nanomachines were more advanced and had the ability to hack into terminals and nodes connected to the Big Shell's operational support network, support coded communications inside the body, and create dynamic hallucinations through intracranial nanomachines. They could also check and manage vital signs and replace the use of bandages, since if their host sat still long enough, the nanomachines could rapidly organize a vast supply of platelets in order to coagulate the wound. Almost everyone involved with the Patriots or under Patriot control had nanomachines by this point, including the US President and Raiden. Because the US President was also hooked up with these nanomachines, the nanos were used as a fail-safe system between the President and the nuclear launch button, as well as a VIP communication system between the President and his Secret Service detail. Because the codec was made up of these second-generation nanomachines, users appeared outwardly silent when using their codec to communicate. By 2011, third-generation nanomachines were widely used and even more complex than their previous iteration. These nanomachines could also be used to control groups of people / allowed groups of people to communicate and see what each other saw, which was invaluable in a combat setting. Third-generation nanomachines could also break down alcohol to prevent intoxication and could purify water upon consumption to prevent waterborne illnesses. These nanomachines were designed to be used at a pressure of 1 atmosphere. Unfortunately, this meant that people in high altitudes, such as in the mountains, suffered adverse effects from the nanos. The nanos would malfunction and the secretion of neural substances would increase because of the changes of oxygen concentrations in their host's blood. Soldiers deployed to mountainous regions suffered from an increase in secretion of neural anesthetic by their nanomachines, and often went into battle intoxicated because of it. Nanomachines were also used to suppress a soldier's fear and any trauma they may experience due to their combat experiences. This meant that if the effects of the nanomachines were blocked for any reason, the soldier would likely deteriorate rapidly as the repressed emotions hit them full force. There are instances of this happening, and the soldiers who had their nanomachines repressed collapsed, had seizures, and in some cases, suffered heart attacks and died. The vocal cord parasites started off in a symbiotic relationship with their hosts, but were warped and weaponized into something that would kill people who spoke the target language they were trained to recognize or to increase the abilities of their host to supernatural capabilities. Nanomachines were designed to enhance soldiers, and in the case of Snavid, spread the Foxdie virus to those with DNA it was trained to recognize. Though as nanomachines took more and more of the burden of combat from their soldier hosts, the more of a liability they became as soldiers found they couldn't function without them. History. How were the vocal cord parasites and nanomachines used throughout Metal Gear Solid? Nanomachines and vocal cord parasites occupied different points in the Metal Gear timeline, with the vocal cord parasites playing a role in the creation of the Cobra unit in MGS3 Operation Snake Eater, as well as the Parasite unit, Quiet, and Code Talker in MGS5 The Phantom Pain. The vocal cord parasites were even the precursor to Foxdie. The vocal cord parasites were modified so that they could recognize and target genetic code instead of language. Nanomachines made their debut in 2005 when Snavid was injected with them to try and give him an edge over the genome soldiers he'd be facing, along with the harsh Alaskan conditions on Shadow Moses Island. Over the years, nanomachines evolved to something almost all militaries employed with their soldiers, though this made a hostile takeover of armies easy as their nanomachines were all connected through one operating system, the Sons of the Patriot system. Nanomachines were what kept Big Boss in his coma, and once Snaven and company were able to destroy the Sons of the Patriot system, he awakened. That's a story for another day though. When designed for combat, the vocal cord parasites are a beast. Nanomachines couldn't give a soldier the power to control bees or perfectly camouflage into their surroundings. The vocal cord parasites made the Parasite unit a terrifying unit to deal with. They also gave Code Talker and the End the ability to be more in tune with their surroundings and gather intel someone relying on their natural senses wouldn't have access to. When weaponized, the vocal cord parasites were beyond deadly. Our immune systems don't recognize them as a threat, and so don't try to fight them off. The vocal cord parasites are also highly infectious, being able to spread both through humans and birds. Skullface's plan to use the vocal cord parasites to eradicate language was stopped by Venom Snake, but I shudder to think what would have happened had Skullface succeeded. Opposite the vocal cord parasites are nanomachines. Vocal cord parasites were weaponized, whereas nanomachines were designed as tools to support soldiers. Yes, they've also been used as a vehicle to spread Foxdie, but that wasn't their main design. Nanomachines were first and foremost a way to make soldiers more efficient. The vocal cord parasites and nanomachines can be really confusing. You can think of the vocal cord parasites mainly affecting games with Naked Snake / Big Boss in them, and nanomachines mainly being in games with Snavid. Vocal cord parasites are parasites that were selectively bred to eradicate language or give soldiers supernatural abilities, and nanomachines are microscopic machines designed by people to enhance a soldier's natural abilities. I hope this helps clear up some of the differences between the two, but if you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. And thank you for making it to the end of the video. Please like and subscribe, it really helps the channel out. We're so close to 1,000 subscribers. Join us in Discord. We're always talking about MGS. More importantly, please take care of yourselves, and I will catch you all in the next one. Thank you.